But we believe that with genetic engineering we can get to the bottom of the problem and get right into the inherent weaknesses of all these rats, and eventually they will kill themselves off. So basically it's not all doom and gloom. We have made some advances in the treatment of brain cancer. This is a little girl who many years ago would not have survived. She's got what we call a brainstem glioma, and most neurosurgeons consider these inoperable. They consider them inoperable because of the very delicate location in the brain stem. Now the brain stem is this very narrow structure, no bigger than the size of your thumb, and it connects the brain proper to the spinal cord. In other words, every voluntary function has to go through the brain stem. You can understand why people consider it a no-go zone, or an area that is truly inoperable. But again, with fancy techniques and technology, we can now access the brainstem and take out tumours like that with good results. This little girl had gone to another surgeon in Sydney. He recommended surgery. Unfortunately, after 12 hours and a very big operation, he was unable to remove the tumour and then recommended radiotherapy. Thankfully, the family didn't like the sound of radiotherapy and came and saw us at the centre, and through a very minimally invasive approach we managed to remove it. So here's the tumour right in the middle of the brain, this sort of whitish lump here. But the good features about this tumour is that it actually kind of looks well demarcated, as if you could take it out it wouldn't grow back again, unlike a lot of tumours that unfortunately invade the brain and don't have this nice area of demarcation around them. So after surgery we managed to get a complete removal and did it all through an eyebrow incision, which is sort of a minimally invasive cuticle incision. She's very fat in the face, and that's because she was put on steroids. It's sort of like a bit of a band-aid that we give patients who have truly inoperable tumours, and if you can't take them out you can give them steroids, which buys them a little bit of time. But thankfully she got better, and several years later she's survived without a recurrence. So, good story. Here's another story from Melbourne. This is a 24-year-old man who went to a neurosurgeon who wasn't so ethical. He did an operation, took out about 5% of the tumour, this little black hole right here, and told the patient he took out 95% of the tumour. So the patient said, "Oh look, that's great, doctor, can I have a look at the scan?" He goes, "No, you don't need to look at the scan." So they immediately thought something was a bit suspicious. In his defence, it is a very difficult tumour, it's a difficult area, a very sensitive part of the brain that controls speech and motor movement and stuff. But thankfully he came up to Sydney and we managed to get it all out. So this is the incision that was done down here in Melbourne, and up at the centre we can do them through the eyebrow, and you can see that all the tumour's gone now, this big black hole. And again, thankfully a low-grade tumour, not dissimilar to Chalie's, and likely to be cured. This is a little girl that you'll see on Last Chance Surgery on Channel 7. She first presented to me when she was 4 years of age with this terribly big, nasty tumour. It's malignant, and they tried to take it out a few times, but unfortunately couldn't get it out. So she came over and we got it out, and this was her at the age of 4 after chemotherapy, which had failed, and so really surgery was her only chance. And this is her now, and you'll see her on TV actually, because she's had recurrence being malignant, but I've operated on her like 10 times now, and she gets out of hospital straight after surgery and gets back to living again. She's quite remarkable. Unfortunately she will die with this tumour, and it is highly malignant and it's getting more and more malignant, but we've managed to buy her about 6 good years of life, and hopefully we'll buy her a few more years of life. There are many different new approaches as well, which gives patients hope that we may find a cure soon. Chemotherapy is given directly into the tumour. We are using little wafers that emit chemotherapy directly into the tumour bed. There's a chap down here in Melbourne called Andrew Kay who's doing terrific work on this photodynamic therapy, which again is a targeted therapy to brain tumour cells. You've heard of John Holt in Perth, and other people are using microwave therapy, and again there is some merit to that form of treatment. And again, we're now targeting the immune system and also the genes in order to hopefully get to the root of the problem. There are many different chemotherapy agents that are being used for brain tumour today that weren't being used even 5 years ago. There are even some experimental therapies, not only in this country, but in a lot of different countries in the world that are trying all these experimental treatments as well. And of course, there are alternative treatment therapies that seem to work. We're not quite sure why, but again, we believe that they probably boost the immune system. Shark cartilage, anti-neoplastins, changing your diet, meditation, the power of positive thought, they all seem to keep people alive longer than would be expected. And again, the rationale behind that is probably that the immune system does have some role to play in cancer treatment. What can you do to help? And what can you do to try and prevent yourself from getting brain cancer? Well, again, it's very important to sleep. 8 hours sleep a night has been shown to boost the immune system and decrease the incidence of cancer. The New England Journal of Medicine article that came out several years ago saying that 5 servings of fruit and vegetable a day will also reduce your risk of cancer. You know, this is a bit, it's a bit alarmist maybe, but I would definitely try and avoid, well, not so much avoid as reduce your exposure to EMR. Now EMR comes in all different shapes and sizes, electromagnetic radiation. It's not only emitted by mobile phones, but any electrical appliance. And again, even though the jury is not in, just to err on the side of safety, I would try and limit the amount of EMR that you're exposed to. The American government, for example, recommend that all electrical appliances should be put at the foot of the bed and not the head of the bed. So alarm clocks, for example, at the foot of the bed. Electric blankets should be turned off before you get in the bed. Microwaves, you should definitely wait till those 5 beeps finish before you open the microwave door. And again, with a mobile phone, I encourage you to put it on loudspeaker and step outside rather than sticking up to your brain. And this is why we're here tonight. We're here tonight because basically we believe that the cure for brain cancer is going to come out of the laboratory. They need incredible amounts of funding. In fact, something like about $50 billion in 20 years it takes to find a cure for most cancers. It has worked for other cancers. You know it's worked for leukemia. Leukemia is the one cancer that we hold up as our gold standard of what it takes. It took about 20 years and $50 billion, but nevertheless about 30 years ago the mortality from leukemia was about 90 to 95%, and today the mortality is 5%. It's exactly the opposite. So with research and with time, we will find a cure for brain cancer, but unfortunately we do need good people like yourselves to attend functions like this to get the awareness going and to get the research funded. You also need a good attitude. I love this slide. It's the word around the office is that you have an attitude. So in some ways, it's exactly what we want to say. That's not me.